In this session, let us use Python for controls and focus on the root locus application. We will be using root locus for synthesizing the controller for a given plant. So in order to do that, let us get some practice with using the Python based tools, control tools specific to root locus. So when we are about it in Jupyter Notes, there are some shortcomings that you will see, and we will also see how we will try to resolve these, and then we will look at IPython, the interactive Python environment, which will be used to overcome these issues, and how we can write Python into directly a text editor with a .py extension. So all this we will try to cover in this class and focus on designing a controller using the root locus methodology. I have opened Jupyter Notes, and you see the folder structure here. I will go back to the folder where we expect our files to be, the control examples folder, and now I will open a new Python file, and let me say we want to use focus on root locus using Python tools, and I'll mark down that, and then let's say we'll run. So here we will say root locus example 1. So example 01 root locus. So this is again marked down, and then we can start writing the code here. So let me now start writing the code for a root locus example. I will take the same transfer function that I used for the other examples to demonstrate the Python control tools, and we will see how we will obtain the root locus plot. Let us include the modules. So import the NumPy module, import the matplotlib module, and import the control module. These three are important modules which are by default necessary for any Python programming in controls. So include them, and then we could define the transfer function. Recall that we had actually used a transfer function in the previous examples, Python controls 1, where we had taken a second order transfer function. So numerator is just plain 1, and the denominator is s square plus 0.5s plus 2. And we convert using the control system toolbox ctl.tf the numerator polynomial and the denominator polynomial. Then you print that system. So if you run that, if I run that cell, you see that you get the transfer function 1 by s square plus 0.5s plus 2 as indicated by these polynomial coefficients. So now let us include the script bit of the code for plotting the root locus. So let me do that. Comment line, obtain the root locus data first. Okay. So for that, I will get these two data R and D. R is a vector of roots, D is the vector of damping ratios from the root locus function present in the control toolbox, R locus. So what do you pass as parameters? So you will pass as parameters system, and you can also ask it to plot simultaneously. So say plot equals true. So this will get the root locus and it will put into these two vectors R and D. You may not actually use the values of R and D vector, so you could also just use this. Control toolbox, take the function R locus, pass axis C and plot is equal to true. This also will do the same job, unless you want to use the vector R and the damping ratios in some other part of the script for some other purpose. You don't need to take those values. So next, let us plot the locus. So already I'm not going to give a separate plot. Already we have said plot is equal to true. So which means it is going to generate the root locus plot. We just have to enable the printing of the title. So let us say root locus plot example, something like that, and let's say plot show. So let us run this. Go to cell, run cells, click on that. So you will see a plot coming up. So what does this say? So you have the x-axis of real. This is the S-plane. This basically is the S-plane. This is the real axis. This is 0. On the right side is the right of the S-plane. It is now showing only the left of the S-plane. And you have the damping lines, and then you have two poles here, which is having a real and imaginary component. Pole 1 here, and this is the other pole. So they are complex conjugate poles, and you have the root locus going straight up as expected. The y-axis, of course, is the imaginary axis. So this is the root locus. Because you have only two poles, no zeros, you can expect that the root locus goes right up 90 degrees and 270 degrees. And all these plots here, all these points here on the root locus are nothing but valid closed loop pole points of the entire system, of the entire closed loop system, where you have a controller with unity gain as the controller. Let me now bring in some complexity, some problems that could be faced in Jupyter. Let me insert a cell below. So I will just say that this is example 2, root locus example 2. So discrete transfer function. So this is marked down actually, and now let me take the same example and convert it into discrete, and you will see the problem. So let me copy that and paste it here. Okay, so that we don't disturb that one. So now here let me introduce the discrete transfer function. So sampling, so I will include sampling the continuous system. So let us say sampling time equals 0.2, and a system, discrete system, I will use the control toolbox CTL sample system, and sample what? The continuous domain system with the sampling time TS. Okay, so this is what you would get the new, and I would like to print the discrete transfer function. So this is the discretized transfer function of the system continuous domain system SysC. Then when I plot the root locus, now I will plot the discrete. So this, when you plot the discrete transfer function, you expect that it should come on a unit circle, isn't it? The discrete transfer function maps onto the Z plane. The Z plane, the unit circle is the bounding, just like you have the imaginary axis, the bounding line between the stable and unstable region of operation for the S domain on the S plane. Likewise for the Z plane, as we have seen earlier, the unit circle is the boundary. Everything within the unit circle is stable and everything outside the unit circle is unstable. So let us see this. So let us see this, what this particular plot does. So let us run this. I will run the cell. So you see here, this is the S domain transfer function, and this is the Z domain transfer function. You have 2 poles and 1 0. So you see that this is the root locus, but doesn't apparently looks like it is making some sense. But it is actually correct. This is actually a correct root locus. If I zoom in here, you will see the unit circle coming up. It's very small because the numbers are pretty big. The root locus has gone on to a very large number. So here is the problem. You cannot interact with this plot in Jupyter. Jupyter is a note-taking platform, and you will see the results that comes up as is, and these are images. So you will not be able to interact with the plot like your GNU plot or similar such platform. So that is why I now will take you to another interactive environment called IPython. So when you install Jupyter, IPython is automatically installed because IPython is the underlying interactive interface for Python, which works on the command line, and this Jupyter nodes that you are seeing on the browser is the GUI interface. So IPython is already installed and existing on your system. Let us go and have a look at it. In the meantime, first let me save this work. We will come back to this. So I will save this as root locus, save. So that is done. So it is saved as root locus here, you can see. And now I will smoothly transit to IPython and then again come back to Jupyter here. Let me copy this piece of script. I'll copy and then open a text editor. I'm using gedit. You can use any text editor, and let me paste it there. And I will save this as I'll go to the same place, own cloud, control, examples, and let me save it as a .py. So let's say root locus.py and save it. So that is done, saved. Now I will also open a terminal window and place it side by side like this. Now here the path is indicating at the user home. I will change directory to the control examples ls. You see that we are having this root locus.py. Okay. So let me clear the terminal window and I will bring up IPython. So now you are in the IPython environment. It is like it is a Python environment. You can type in the Python commands and it is an interpreter mode. You will get the results as you type the statements. So for example, import control as CTL, and let me define the transfer function. So num yes, denominator is 0.5 and 2, and system C, I will call the control toolbox, transfer function num n. So the system C has been generated, print the continuous transfer. So like this, you will see that the transfer function has been generated. It is an interpreter based interactive Python environment, very powerful, and you can use it for doing all your Python scripting and debugging. You can get help. Look at this starting line here, type question mark for help. You can type question mark and get more help on this IPython itself, and you can find out more about it. You can explore more about it. Type Q and then you will come out of the help. If you want to get help on the control module, you can say help control or help CTL, help CTL. So you will get all the functions which are there in the control module. We have renamed control as CTL, and therefore the help CTL. Q for quitting that. Let us say, for example, within the CTL, you would like to get some information on root locus or locus. You can type as let me clear the screen, help CTL dot or locus. It will give you help on the root locus function. So this way you can move around and explore the various functions in IPython. Quit, and you are back again into the environment command window. Let me clear the screen. So now if you want to run this file rootlocus.py, so what you do is run root locus dot y. So you see that, like in Jupyter, these outputs are displayed. This is the continuous domain transfer function. This is the discrete domain transfer function. We use dt as 0.2. And here the plot comes out in this plot window, which is interactive. So you see that as the cursor moves, you get the x and y positions there on the top right. And I can use this zoom, and I can zoom in here. I can mark that, I can zoom in so that I can get to the unit circle point. So you see here the root locus, there are two poles here, complex conjugate poles, and there is 1 0 here in the discrete domain, as is evident here, 2 poles and 1 0, 2 poles and 1 0. So the root loci live asymptotically, the poles, open loop poles, one of them reach the 0 and one goes to infinity. So this here is the unit circle. I can zoom it further and see the unit circle. So you see that this is the unit circle, this is the z plane, and the root locus going out to the unit circle like this. Okay, so this is the expected root locus plot. It got masked because of the axis, improper axis marking. Because in Jupyter you cannot do this modification. So here, because the plot is interactive, you can zoom in to any portion of the graph. So let me go back to the original view. This is the view that you got when you executed this root locus dot py. But it will be nice if this is scaled properly before displaying. So let us try to see if we can do that. So I am going to close this window and do a minor edit here. So instead of just plot title, just before plot title, I will have plot axis, and I will mention the extremities of the x and y axis. So from minus 1.2 to 1.2 and minus 1.2 to 1.2 in the y axis also. Place this vector into this array, and you have defined xmin, xmax, ymin, ymax. And now let us run this. So you will see that the root locus will plot, collect the data, and then plot, and the axis is zoomed into these limits. Then you have the title and the plot is shown. So let us do that. Let me clear the screen and I will run root locus .py. So you see that the axis is now within the limits, and directly you will be able to see this root locus plot coming in. So you can do this modification in Jupyter too. So I will get back to Jupyter here. So let us say I will include this line, plot.axis, and then now I will run this cell, run the cell. So you will see that the z-plane unit circle and the root loci are plotted in a much more clearer fashion. So if you see that I would not like to make a duplication of the script. So you have already written this script file in root locus.py. You need not copy it here in Jupyter. Instead, so let me insert a cell below. So let us say that, okay, I will say example, this is example 3. Example 3, executing .py script file. So you already have a script file and you would like to execute that. So just like you did in IPython, the run, you are already in the same directory. I'll say run root locus.py. So let us execute this. So you see that root locus.py gets executed. So you don't need to actually duplicate the code by cutting and pasting it here. You can have at one place your py script, the code, edit it, debug it, do all those things, and then Jupyter to keep the notes and to keep the continuity of your notes and theory together. You can use this command, run the script.py. So the results are plotted and then you can continue keeping your notes.